Hello, everybody. It is an FP writer, and I need to think of a better catchphrase, line, thing. Anyways, now that the music thing is out of the way, it's done, it's uploaded, it is finito. At least, one version of it. I'll still be waiting for a fan creation or fan idea version of that in which I can upload, but that'll be a future thing. But now that that's done, I can move on to the other stuff, and one of the other things that I would like to move on to is, in fact, today's subject, which is MBTI and writing, or how I view it, writing both MBTIs and other works that I'm working on. And to do that, I need to go over the three basic things that most people will be attracted to when it comes to a book, and they'll have a order of importance as to which one is more important than the other when you're reading something. So you've got the characters, you've got the plot, and you've got the setting. Now, because people are different, each one of these three things will be important in a certain order. So for me, it's character, plot, then setting. I like to focus on the characters. I like to figure out their personality. I like to figure out their backstory. I like to figure out their ability. I spend a lot of time putting things into figuring out the characters, because for me, characters are what make the story the most interesting. You can't have a proper story without at least some kind of character. Now, some people will say, but wait a minute, how do you know what the character is going to do if there is no plot? So therefore the plot needs to be the most important, because you can't figure out what the story is going to be about and what's going to happen if you don't have a plot. That'll be a kind of viewpoint others will have, and they'll put like the plot as the most important, then the setting, or then plot and then characters. And then the last one is the setting, which has the argument of, well, you can't have a plot and you can't have characters without a proper setting, because if you don't have a proper setting, things can't happen. You need to figure out where they're going to be and what they're going to do in that place before you can figure out what is going to happen. So this is the typical basic kind of argument that those three lines of thought have. And for each person, like I said before, they have their order of importance. Because I am a character-first driven person, I focus or enjoy focusing on the psychology behind them or the personality behind them, as you should. So this is why, and the reason I'm talking about this now instead of doing anything else is because I feel it's kind of appropriate considering that I'm writing the comic. So the reason why I find MBTI and some of these other typology things super important, this I guess could be considered advice, I don't know, but anyways, the reason why I consider it important is because when you understand the characteristics of how a person acts, whether unhealthy or healthy, because MBTI allows there to be unhealthy situations in which one could act, and it also allows a optimal way in which a character could act, which then you can mesh into a story, backstory, or whatever, and it just allows you to, I personally think, bring the character to life. Like understanding MBTI, and I would say even like understanding some of the others like the Big Five, Enneagram, and all that, is also helpful in kind of understanding how people act, how characters will act. And when you put that into the character bio, when you're like researching the characters, as I do, you're able to create, okay, how is this, okay, this is going to happen, how would this character react to that, or what happened in their backstory that causes them to act in this way due to the fact that they are this type, or you can even be, how can, like, this character acts this way in this situation, in this part of the story or backstory. What type is he? Okay, judging from the way I've written him and the way he acts, he is this type. Okay, what are some other ways this type may potentially act depending on the situation, depending on the function and how that function would react in that kind of setting? So, this is, at least for me, how I view a lot of my writings as of late. Is, if it's not poetry, I'm talking about like stories here, obviously. Is that if I've written a scene, if I'm writing a personality, if I'm writing their likes, their dislikes, if I'm writing how I perceive they should be acting or what potentially happened to them, I'm going to be asking myself the question, okay, what kind of person is this? What kind of background do they come from? And how does their personality fit into all of this, and how would their personality react? Because an ENTJ will react very differently from, say, another ENTJ or any other type, or an INFP will react differently from any other INFP, even though they'll have some similarities. So you'll have to understand, like, okay, these characters are this, they'll act differently because different settings, different situations, different... What I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of research that goes into writing, and like even with the MBTI's comic that I'm writing, there is a lot of research I put into it based on how certain characters should be acting. So in this way, I would kind of encourage people to be like, okay, I'm going to research. It doesn't even have to be MBTI. It could be any other personality thing. But I would encourage, if you want to bring out a character, give them a little bit more life, I would personally encourage people to research some kind of personality thing, or like, even if it's just a little bit of dabbling, to understand how one person can act very differently from another, despite being either the same or completely different types, because how that comes out also brings about a more relatable character. Whether that character shares your type or not, it doesn't matter. It still can bring about relatable characters to other people. So, yeah, that's all I had to say about that subject. I just wanted to, like, point out the areas of writing that I, as a writer, focus on, and hopefully maybe have some inspiration? Anyways, that's it for this video. I will see you guys next time. Oh, and before I leave, if you guys have something you would like to see on this channel, please do let me know in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do about getting to them. Until next time, bye-bye.